field. However, given this compressed format, I think we have another advantage of being able to compare different models in a very short time, so that the differences between and among the models seem to be quite vividly illustrated. Well, to start with, well, to me, he's always professor, but president and Chairman Yoon-dae, I think he made a very important comment on this Korea's nation branding strategy by identifying the importance of providing our hands to the people and the country that are in need of our help. And indeed, he emphasized the need for us to greatly expand our ODA, Official Development Assistance. And I believe this one will, if it is done, and when it is done, I think Korea's nation brand or its image will greatly improve. And I think this comment of his is also consistent with the overall theme of this Jeju Peace Conference. And, well, Simon Anholt, well, he's always the guru in this field, and he made a very important comment by stressing the importance of the need to think of it from the country's point of view. In other words, from those who receive the image of Korea and the nation. And indeed, that was also echoed by Mr. Bernard's speech with his very illustrative presentation. I think we were able to make sure that nation brand is indeed not a single unitized concept, but indeed it can be, it has multiple and different images shared by different people. In other words, Korea as a nation brand is not a single image, because each country, each people has different understanding of what Korea is. And indeed, in my own study, also I found that Korea as a nation brand is perceived to be relatively low in many European countries, especially West European countries. But in many Asian countries, Korea as a brand is given more, in some countries, it is given more value than many countries, including Japan. So when we develop nation brand strategy, not as a global approach, but as a strategy to increase its awareness in each country, I think we should be able to make sure that each country has different perception of Korea as a nation brand. I think his remark was really vividly illustrating that part. Mr. Lee Dong-un indeed has presented another very interesting model, and indeed in his presentation he started by comparing different models, and I think that comparison was very important. And I think his NB-do model perhaps is more comprehensive than most others that are in existence. And the only question is how he can solicit or collect the reliable data from various countries in the world and make it more workable. And given the organization that he is associated with, Samsung Research Institute, I hope he makes a good progress in this regard. And, well, overall, I appreciate the organizer and Mr. Chairman for giving us this this chance to see and understand Nation brand so quickly in this 80-minute session. Thank you very much.
Dr. Cho, I really appreciate your being brief. And well, next commentator will be Dr. Kim Yu-kyung, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the great speech and presentation. I will start over again. Thank you very much for the great speech and presentation, which will be absolutely beneficial to our branding Korea process. Since my given time is so limited, I just want to give you a quick raise a quick issue, which is very simple but very essential. Since we are now in the middle of Jeju Peace Forum, I would like to focus on the role and influence of North Korea to our nation branding. I just want to ask a simple and soft question of all of us. Are we really branding Korea in the ultimate? Or then, how many Korea and what kind of Korea do we have? One of my friends living in the United States has talked to me, it's always joking to me like this. How many Koreas do you have? I have seen a lot of Koreas, North Korea, South Korea, sometimes Republic of Korea, DPRK, just Korea itself, and dynamic Korea. So many, 5 Koreas. It's already inundated with so many Koreas in one small peninsula. So I did explain it, but it took time. Some companies uses the name of Korea to measure the nation branding. So other companies measure South Korea, name of South Korea, to measure the nation branding. All the difference, they are sharing different unit of analysis in their own ways. Would the result be the same? In addition, we tend to, like Bernard Spitz mentioned, we tend to compare our nation brand value or nation image level with our GDP. Our GDP at 13th in ranking contains nothing but the objective performance of the South Korea. But whereas nation brand value of Korea ranked the 33rd based on whole NBI tend to be formed more holistically and be the mixture of South and North Korea. Such a broad identity is one of the significant factors worsening Korea's nation branding. Korea may be thought as a master brand or umbrella brand, which is supposed to control both Korea as its sub-brands. Even though we are not entitled to control or dominate North Korea's brand system, if any, Korea's image is very often, perceived as the average of that North and South Korea. South plus North divided by 2. Even though we did very hard, if they did negatively, they're going to go to minus. So sometimes A plus B go extremely squeezed against South Korea, many times to North Korea. The degree of such blurredness of Korea's identity is different from market to market. For Asia, Korea is mostly perceived as South Korea. But North America, more blurred perception of Korea they have. For Europe, much more blurred. That's why he pointed at the consequences of that. Many times we are complaining that the biggest hindrance in the process of improving Korea's brand image is global contamination by the North Korea's related recent activities and the North-South confrontation issue, which has a long history. In this context, I think our current every effort in branding Korea suffers a limit. It may end up with a little progress. As long as this problem or the predicament constantly exists, it's hard to identify our authentic authentic national identity, communicate it, and objectively measure Korea's genuine brand value. Worse is much more difficult to achieve our short-term brand goal, which is like Chairman President mentioned on earlier, to raise our Korea's brand ranking from 33rd to 15th in a couple of years. I'm not sure. In that sense, if Simon Arnold talked about the impossibility. But then, is there nothing we can do about it? I think some of you may know the answers, but I think we have to restructure our brand architectural paradigm suitable for our peculiar nation branding system. Or we may consult or collaborate with North Korea to build up the successful brand Korea gradually, step by step. Why don't we think like this? Now is the perfect time that we have to encourage North Korea to participate in this great project. We can make a great contribution to the improvement of our nation branding, or actually peninsula branding. I watched TV this morning. The research said the people in the U.S. are regarding North Korea as the biggest enemy in the world today, this morning. By now, North Korea may be struggling with cracking such a serious problem, but they might be interested in participating in our project. Then, let's think about the global communication issue. What have we done so far? Let's ask one more question. What kind of Korea have we promoted across the global area so far? Are we on the right track? Was that successful? Some say people in the world are receiving so many newses of Korea from CNN, BBC, or other global media. Among the feature, the daily coverage of Korea, let's say 22 times over 24 are about North Korea. Less than 5% is about South Korea. Not just Korea. No, not just Korea. We have not articulated as such so far. This results in the substantially big gap between our desired identity and the actual image in regard with the brand Korea. This phenomenon also differs from market to market. More serious in European community, as he said in French. Finally, I suggest we are now in the process of developing our future national brand identity. I would like to suggest our national identity should audaciously get out of our present and the past. Why don't we just constructively choose more futuristic orientation? Like in IT.
Well, Dr. Kim, thank you very much for your interesting idea involving North Korea, but I wish we could have more time. But we have the last panelist, Dr. Cole. Yeah, microphone is yours. You have 5 minutes to make.
Thank you very much. And I want to thank Ambassador Yim and the Korea Foundation for bringing me here to this wonderful conference, and to thank the panelists who've spoken, who've done such a wonderful job of opening up this subject of the nation brand. And I was really encouraged by what Dr. Eo had to say about Korea's plan for a nation brand, because and for developing Korea's brand, because I feel it goes beyond this rather bogus activity of nation branding and moves into my own field of public diplomacy. I'm a scholar of public diplomacy, and I think that what Korea is proposing is really the applied use of a variety of quite sophisticated public diplomacy tools. It was good to hear Simon underline the extent to which it is reality that makes a brand. And I think that can't be said enough. We're not dealing with the images come from reality. But what I would say is that there are a number of realities out there, and there are many nations whose realities change, whose realities undergo transformation, and not all of those changes in realities are reflected in a change of perception, because not all the realities are known by international publics. And the process of communication that Korea is now discussing, I think, is a way of making sure that the changes to the Korean reality, the real changes that have happened and are continuing to happen, are known by more people. Because the story, the remarkable story of the emergence of Korea in recent years still isn't well enough known around the world. I'm pleased that Korea is talking about building its relevance to people around the world, and especially through the people-to-people work of development and the Global Friends Korea program. And what concerns me is an idea that all of this effort might, if it's just talked about in terms of branding, be seen as a way, being friends with the world just so it becomes possible to get a higher price for a stereo. Is that really what we're talking about? Closing the gap, eliminating the so-called Korea brand discount? Surely the inspiring element of what we're talking about today is not doing it so that Korea can charge more for its products, but doing it because it is the right thing to do. It is right for Korea to be a global citizen. It is right for Korea to engage with the peoples of the world. It is right for Korea to reach out to other nations. Simon said very perceptively that for a nation brand to move, it takes some kind of radical readjustment. Well, there is an obvious radical readjustment that is long overdue on this peninsula. And we don't know when it's going to happen, but we've been talking about it in this conference quite a lot. And of course, I referred to reunification. And the world is waiting. And when that reunification happens, and I hope it happens, we don't know when. We didn't know with German reunification. I'm sure it will surprise us again with this development. And I hope it's something I get to see. That will be a transforming moment for Korea's brand, because brands are based on stories. And the story of a coming together of a nation is the most moving, the most powerful story that one could imagine. And I feel that a story like that, yes, a story like that could lead to a transformation in the global awareness of Korea. But thank you once again for inviting me here, and I look forward to continuing this discussion in the following session. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Cole. And we heard, the presentations and comments by all speakers. Well, I wish I could open the floor, but my watch, shows that we are over 3:30. So, well, it was very painful and daunting job for me to limit and restrict, the time of their presentations. Nevertheless, I think we had a very good session, and we have but to look forward to the concurrent session. We can continue our discussion on this very important and interesting theme. Well, in conclusion, with relevance, with regard to the theme we discussed today, two words are lingering on in my ears. These are reality and relevance. Well, thank you very much for your participation and support. We look forward to the next session. Thank you so much.
And thank you very much, President Im Sung-jun, for your chairmanship. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm round of applause to keynote speaker and also 3 paper presenters and 3 discussants.